Code review is an essential practice of the development lifecycle. It helps improve the code quality, unify team practices, share knowledge, mentoring, and a lot more. It helps finding mistakes, often overlooked when developing the code. It also helps in accelerating the development processes because mistakes are more likely to be found earlier in the process than later in the testing. Raising pull request lets your team review the code before merging this into your main development branch. Reviewers can step through the changes, leave comments, and vote to approve or reject the code. In this video, let's look at how to raise pull request, some of the conventions that you can follow, and some of the policies that you can set as a team to help improve the pull request workflow. Hello everyone, my name is Rahul and welcome back to the YouTube channel. Here, I'm using the My App repository in Azure DevOps, which I had used previously when setting up the tests for Azure DevOps. Since this doesn't require any new setting up solutions, I'll just start from a solution that already exists. So let's say I'm working on a new feature for this particular application and I'm adding a new endpoint. Let's open up the solution in Visual Studio and start adding new features. Currently, I am on the master branch, which is the main branch for this application. I can see the current branch at the right bottom corner in Visual Studio, and I can also switch branches or create new branches from here. So let's click New Branch. Now, since I'm working on a new feature, let's check out your new branch with some conventions. If you look at some of the guidelines that Microsoft specifies for naming branches, you can see this could be based on your user and username. If it's a bug fix, you can use bug fix as a prefix, or if it's features, you can use features as the prefix. Choose one that works for you and the team. Usually, in my projects, we stick with feature and bugs. So if it's a feature I'm working on, I would name this under feature, and if it's a bug, it would come under bug. Since this is a new feature that I'm working on, so let's name this feature/. I'm adding a new order endpoint for this particular feature. So let's name this order endpoint. Use a convention that your team agrees on and stick with it for all the features and bugs that you create. This helps you to easily recognize even if someone is away or you need to quickly jump onto a new feature and start working on it. So this creates a new branch based out of the master branch, which is exactly what we want. So let's click Create Branch, and this is going to create a new branch for us. If you see, since we had it under feature, it's created a folder feature and placed the new branch under there. I'll not write much code, but just create a new class since the intent of this video is just to show you how to create pull requests. So let's go to controllers and add a new controller, which is the order controller. I have some code written out before, so let's use that to get started. So this is injecting an order repository into the constructor and using that to create a new order. None of these classes are implemented, but still just having interfaces to start with. Now, once you feel you have reached a certain point which can be merged into your main branch, you can start raising a pull request. You necessarily need not wait to complete the full feature to start raising pull request. You can use feature toggles or other mechanisms to make sure that this code doesn't affect the rest of the application. So in this case, I think now since I have a schema for this controller, I can check this in so that somebody else who wants to use this can start consuming it, let's say from the front end. To commit these changes, let's go into Team Explorer. So you can go to changes. So in this case, I have created a new class, order controller, and added a iOrder repository and an order DTO. Now, when you're adding a commit message, make sure to add in enough description so that whoever is going to review has context and also understand what this change is about. So let's say adding in a new order endpoint to create a new order. The first line becomes the title of this particular commit, and you can use a new line followed by bullet points or a short description of whatever this change is. I usually prefer to use bullet points, which makes it easy to read and quickly glance through it. We can say added a new controller and DTO classes for the order endpoint. And you could go on and give more details if required. Let's commit this and then push this into Azure DevOps. Let's make sure the solution builds and run any tests as part of the solution to make sure you don't break the build. Let's push this up into Azure DevOps. You could do that either by clicking the branch name on the right bottom corner of Visual Studio and using push, or also from the Team Explorer and going to the home page of the Team Explorer and going to sync and using push from here. This does show you what all commits are going up in this particular push. Let's push this new branch from here. It says it's successfully pushed, so let's switch back to Azure DevOps. If you come under commits, you can start seeing the latest commit that we just added. This by default shows you the master branch. You can switch this to show the other branches. So you can see the feature/order endpoint that we just created is up here now. Switching to that should show you the commits from that particular branch. You can also see the branches that's available in here by going to the branches menu. This shows you grouped by the folders, which is why it's good to have conventions. So you would have all your feature branches under the feature folder, and if you have bug fixes, it would come under the bug folder. So let's expand this, and you can go to this particular branch from here as well. This starts showing you the code from that particular branch. To raise a pull request, go to repos and pull request under that. This is going to prompt you to create a new pull request based on your latest commit. So you could either click the create a pull request button from here to start a new pull request, or explicitly click the new pull request. So if I was to use the new pull request button, you can choose the branches from where you want to raise a pull request and into which branch. Now in this case, I want to raise a pull request from the feature order endpoint branch into the master branch. So let's leave it like that. Since we had only one commit, the description and the title was automatically populated. But if you have more than one commits, you will have to explicitly do that. Let's see how that would look like. Let's discard this pull request by navigating away from it, which doesn't create any pull request in this case. So let's go back to the source code and add some more code and create a new commit. We actually need to have an order class under the models and move the DTOs to the controllers. Make sure you fix namespaces. So under the order DTO, let's make sure this method is now returning a new order class. So let's go back to Team Explorer and start committing again. So let's go to changes and say rearranged the order DTO and model classes. Let's commit this and then again push. This time, let's use the push from the feature name and choosing push here. This is going to push up the code and you can see the status on the status bar. The changes are now successfully pushed. Let's go back to Azure DevOps and raise the pull request again. So let's click the new pull request button. It's using the same feature order endpoint branch into the master branch. But this time, you have noticed that the title and the description is not automatically populated. Now, if you want to populate the commit messages, you can click the add commit messages button here, which should automatically populate all the messages that we added. Now, you can also say adding in a order endpoint and use this as your title, or specify a new title for this pull request, adding a order controller endpoint. Since the description field supports Markdown, you can see the preview of the description that you have written down below. The reason why these bullet points are appearing is because I have used a hyphen to separate these lines, or you can actually do this from here. If you are unsure about the Markdown syntax that you can use in the description, click the Markdown supported link right below the description box to show you the details. This should show you the information on the shortcodes that you can use to create this Markdown description. To add a reviewer, search for the team members that you want to review this particular change. So in this case, let's choose one other person and then move on. To link work items, you can start searching here to create a link between this pull request and the work item. I have an issue, add orders endpoint, which I am currently working on. So let's select that to link the particular work item with this pull request. To link a work item, you can also use a hash convention inside your commits. To see that, let's again go back to Visual Studio and make a change here. So let's say I'm going to add a new property inside here and say string customer name. The issue that I'm working on has a number 138. So let's go back and say adding a customer property and use hash 138 to link that particular work item. So let's commit this and push this code up. Another way to push is to use Control Q, which puts focus on the global search bar on top of Visual Studio. You can then search for push and use the git push from there. This is also going to trigger a push into your repository. Now this is all successfully pushed. Let's go back to Azure DevOps and create a new pull request. This time, let's use this particular button to create the pull request. You can see that the issue 138 now was automatically linked. This is because I used the hash ID of that particular work item in one of the commit messages. So let's choose the add commit messages to inject all the descriptions from the commit messages and add a title, add order controllers endpoint. Let's add a reviewer. We don't need to link a work item now anymore. And then we can click create. Clicking create is going to create a new pull request and notify the reviewers that you have added. Now note, here the reviewer is optional. You can click this dot dot on the right and say make required. Once the pull request is created, whoever is added as a reviewer and anyone in your team can start seeing this pull request. To see all the pull requests, you can go to the pull request menu and see the pull request that's created by you, or navigate by the ones that are active or even the past completed ones. If there are abandoned pull requests, you could also view them. So let's go back to the active ones and click the current pull request that I've just created. Navigating to the files should show you all the files that's changed in this particular pull request. So you can click and navigate through each of them and make suggestions to change. As a reviewer, you can also use this checkbox to mark the files that you have already looked through. So let's say I have walked through this and this looks fine. So let's check this off to say you have already reviewed that particular file. Let's move on to order DTO and do the same. If you think this needs additional work, you can leave a comment here. So let's say in this case, you could leave a comment to populate the customer name property inside this particular method. You can hover over any line of code and click the dot dot comment box that's coming right next to it. Or you can select all these code and then create a comment on the selected text as well. So you can use that and say populate the customer name for the order and create comment. This comment is now marked as active. Whoever has raised a pull request can change the state and then do the appropriate changes. They could either choose to fix this or resolve and then close this particular comment. You can also delete this comment or leave a like to this comment. To edit this comment, click the edit icon and then make the changes that you want. Let's say I want to make this capital and choose update. That should update that particular comment. So once that file is reviewed, you can check that and go to the next file. In this case, the order CS. So maybe you want to suggest to make this as a private setter because that's how you typically have your model classes. Now you can click here again. If you want, you can insert a suggestion which actually allows you to insert a code block. So you could click here and specify private. This will prompt to apply the change directly from the DevOps. However, I choose not to use this, but always update this from the IDE so that in case there are build failures, you can catch it there. But this is an option that you can be aware of. Once you have made these comments, you could either choose to approve or reject this particular pull request. So you can choose approve or say approve with suggestions, or you can actually wait for the order or reject. So if you have some major changes going on and you want to see how this turns out again, you can wait for the order so that the order makes these changes and pushes up a new version of the pull request. You could also reject this if there's something wrong with this pull request. So in this case, let's say I'm going to wait for the order. So I'm going to click that, in which case whoever raised this pull request is going to get a notification on this particular change. So I could make the necessary changes and then raise a new pull request again. So here I might come back to the code and say private set, since that was one of the comments. Go to the order DTO and populate a name in here. So the order DTO must also have a name. So let's have a name here and specify that into the constructor for the order and generate a new constructor for this particular class order. So that's automatically going to create the constructor for us and set that particular value. Let's build the solution to make sure everything is working fine. Let's commit all and then push this up using the Control Q and git push. So if I come back to commits and refresh this, the new commit has come here and the person who is going to review can again review this file. So if you come to the overview tab, you can now start resolving these comments. So you can say this is resolved because you have already made this change, and you can also say this is also resolved. Now whoever is looking at the pull request can choose to approve it. As a team, you might want to set some policies for pull request. Like you might want to make sure that there is a work item linked, in this case, which you can see as the work items linked here. Or maybe you want minimum of 2 people to approve before some changes can go into the master branch. To do that, you have to go to the branches and select branch policies. Since all your changes are going to be merged into your main development branch, which is master in this case, let's go to the master and choose these 3 dots which shows more at the right end of the master branch. Let's click that and choose branch policies. Now you can start adding branch policies in here for pull request. So this specifies it requires a minimum number of reviewers to get any code into this particular branch. So let's enable that, and you can specify the minimum number of reviewers. So let's choose 1 in this case because I'm the only user in this particular project. You can say allow requesters to approve their own changes, which normally you might not do in your team. But in this case, I'm checking so that I can get the pull request merged in. So let's check that. And you could use the other options as required by your team. If you want to make sure that every pull request has a linked work item, make sure to check this on and say this is required. If you choose optional, it's just going to warn whoever is going to create the pull request. Let's leave this as required so that it's a good practice that anything that you work on is actually reflected on the board and is tracked for. You can ensure that all comments are resolved and also choose limit merge types if you want. This is basically to choose what kind of merges are available when you merge this pull request into the master branch. You can either choose rebase, squash, or rebase and fast forward or basic merge. Choose whichever ones you want and your team agrees to. Let's turn that off for now and go on. Now when a pull request is made, I might have broken some of the tests, or maybe even the build is failing. You don't want to find this out when you have actually merged this into your master branch or your main development branch. So if you want to trigger off a build every time a pull request is created, you can create a build validation. So let's click add and choose the build that you want this pull request to be triggered. In this case, since this is the My App repository, I will choose the My App build pipeline. You can also create a path filter, a trigger to select automatic or manual. So if it's automatic, it's going to be triggering a new build whenever the branch is updated. So let's leave it like that. We are also specifying that the build must succeed for this particular pull request to pass through. So let's make this as required. You might also want to rebuild this whole particular pull request when someone changes to the master branch, because that's where you're going to merge this in. So your changes might conflict with the new master branch. So let's say build expiration is immediately when master is updated. So anytime your pull request is still active, and if somebody makes changes to your master branch, your build for that particular pull request is going to be invalid and re-triggered. So let's click that and make sure you click save. Once you have created the build policies, you can go back to your pull request. You can see there is a build queued for this particular pull request. Clicking that should take you to the build that's actually triggered for this particular pull request. You can see the details by going into jobs. This is something we set in a previous video, which is linked here if you are interested on how to set that up. So let's go back to the pull request and wait for the build to complete. Now, as a person who is raising a pull request, you might not want to sit and wait here for the build to click the complete and merge button. So you can choose the set auto complete button, which will give you an option to automatically complete this whenever all these required checks are passed. So I can specify the merge type, in this case merge, no fast forward, or any of the other options that's available for you. You could restrict this in the policies which we saw earlier. So let's leave it on merge and choose the other options. So let's specify set autocomplete, and this should automatically complete this pull request when all the required checks are over. In this case, since I had the build pipeline inside Azure DevOps itself, it was easy for me to set this up using the branch policies. However, if you have your build happening in an external system, let's say you have your own self-hosted TeamCity server, or let's say on GitHub Actions, or any other build server, you could choose to integrate with that as well. To do that, let's go back to the branches and go to the branch policies, and you will need to add status checks. So you could add a new status check and create a new service endpoint that's required to return a status of succeeded or failed to complete this pull request. However, I'll not do that in this video because that's a topic in itself. So I'll keep it for later. Anytime you create a pull request, you can also choose to automatically include reviewers so that you might have a core reviewing team or default reviewers that you want to add for particular projects. You can choose to click add and choose the people that you need to make the reviewers. You could either choose them as optional or required. So let's say I need to make myself as a required participant and also add any other people that's there in your team. You could also limit this to pull requests affecting specific folders and allow the requesters to approve their own changes here. Save this so that next time you create a pull request, these two users are automatically going to get added into the pull request. Now, if you want only one of the team members to be required, you can choose that and say save and create another policy for the optional one. So let's say in this case, I make the other team member as an optional reviewer and save that. So this is going to create two policies, which makes one user optional and the other user as required. So once that's done, let's go back to the pull request. When I created the review, I had made this user as required. I can make them optional right now by clicking the dot button right next to their name. Now, since this pull request has all the other checks passed, the build has passed, one reviewer must approve, which is also passed, and I don't have any other things to wait on. This is automatically completed and merged into the master branch. So if you see, the status now shows completed and it's a tick over here. Now if I go back to the commits and choose master, you can see that my pull request was merged successfully. The next time I'm going to create a pull request, we will see all the policies come into effect by default. So let's do that. Let's switch to the master branch. Make sure to pull the changes. So let's choose sync and choose pull. This is going to pull all the changes from the master branch into our local repository. I should be having the orders controller inside the master branch, which we just added using the merge. Now let's say I need to fix a bug. So I would come here, create a new branch, say bug, and fix customer age, which is a bug that I need to fix. So let's create this new branch, go to the customer shipping condition file, and in here I want to make this as 25. So let's build this and create a new pull request for this particular change. If I go to DevOps and go to the boards, to the backlogs, I can get the particular work item number for that change. In this case, this is 139. Open Team Explorer, go to changes, make customer age 25 and use 139 to tag the particular work item. Let's commit this and use git push to push these changes into the remote repository. Let's move back to the repository and create a new pull request for the change that we just created and click create. Since I had one user as a required reviewer and another one as an optional, those are automatically added to this pull request. You can also see the build is now triggered and it's also waiting for the required user to approve this pull request. Since there is a work item linked, this doesn't show any error for that. If the work item was not linked, it's going to throw an error, a work item must be linked. I can come back here and link the work item again, which should make sure that check is now passed. So once this build is triggered and successful, you can automatically merge this or come here and manually merge this. I can say approve and click complete once the build is successful. If all the policies are not checked, it will not allow me to complete this pull request. This says there is a build in progress. The build is completed, but unfortunately in this case, it has failed. When I changed the particular value from 21 to 25, I actually broke a test. I did not fix the test before pushing that in. If you click the build details, you can see the details of the failure. In this case, it fails the condition the expected age 22 must be true. You can go back again and fix this pull request. Now with the branch policy check, we have now ensured only the code changes that passes all the tests gets merged into your main development branch. Once I fix this, I can again push up a new pull request, which should trigger the build again, and it should fix this particular issue. I hope this helps you to set up a good pull request workflow for your team. Make sure to add in the appropriate branch policies that works for your team. Choose a Git branching workflow that works well with your team, and also the naming conventions that we saw. I will put a link to the documents that I showed in this particular video in the description. Feel free to drop in the comments or reach via any of the social networks if you have any questions. If you like this video, please make sure to hit the like button, and if you want to be notified of future such videos, please make sure to hit subscribe. Thank you and see you soon.